Hi Peaches, it's Shaaba, welcome back to my channel and thank you for clicking on another video! Firstly, let me apologise because you can probably hear it, I have a cold. But that doesn't stop us from doing our weekly segment of diving deep into the a-holes. For those of you who might be new here, every Monday we take a look at the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? Why? Because it's a little bit of fun, a little bit of juicy drama, because we can hopefully help a couple people out and also expand our own mindsets along the way. Because, you know, learning and growth is cool. I sound like a mum! So without further ado, why don't you grab a cuppa, let's take a seat, and let's see if we can help a couple of OP's original posters out. Am I the arsehole for accepting the money I was paid for babysitting my nephew? We're starting mango and lime on our little spicy scale. I'm a 17-year-old woman, my brother is 32, my sister-in-law is 31, and they recently had to go away for a weekend to go to a wedding. They asked me to stay at their house and take care of their 5-month-old son, and I said yes. Oh my gosh, I love cute little squishes. I have been so broody recently. I literally dreamt like a couple days ago that we were on holiday, me and Jamie, with our baby. Dreams are made up, right? But they also take so much truth. I don't know if this is right. This is a slight digression, I'm sorry, but hopefully it'll be worth it. I read on the internet, it is not a verified source, I read that you can't make up people in your dream brain, right? Everyone that you see is a real person. It may not be someone that you actually interacted with. It could be a stranger that you literally passed on the street that your like unconscious brain logged the image of and you have no idea who they are, but they are real people. So Dream Shaaba, right, is mum and Dream Jamie is dad and we've got Dream baby. And I wake up and I'm like, who the frick is this baby? Like, I can still see this baby in my mind. It's not a baby that I recognize. What baby did my brain log to be like, okay, this is your dream child? No idea. Anyway, I'm so sorry. Let's actually start the video properly. 5-month-old squish babysitting. Got it. Okay. He's not a very difficult baby, but regardless, taking care of a baby is never easy. I had to go through the complicated process of thawing out his frozen breast milk. I've never seen that before. Fair. Yes, makes sense. And figuring out which one to feed him and which times. He keeps me up for most of the nights. I had to change him, bathe him, and take him out the house multiple times to get myself food. I was like, oh, you walk a baby now? Like, is that a thing? I mean, I know it's a thing to see sights and stuff. I'm glad OP clarified it was to get food for themselves. And I had to get the food since my brother and sister-in-law left the refrigerator empty. I sense an underlying tone of annoyance. And you know what? I would get that annoyance. Different strokes for different folks. You don't have to, but if someone is coming to your house to look after your beings, like I personally would make sure that there was stuff, you know, or give someone money for stuff. I recently had my sister over to look after the cats whilst Jamie and I were away, and we did both. We left snacks, we left food, and we gave money for like takeaways or whatever. So but that alone doesn't make someone an arsehole. Let's read on. When they got home, they thanked me and paid me $80. $80 for a weekend. I think that's like really reasonable for a family rate. I told them that they didn't have to pay me, but they insisted, so I accepted it. I'm confused as to where this title comes from now, because I'm like, they're like, please take the money. Okay, let's see. When my mum found out that they paid me, she got mad at me for accepting the money. She said that since we were family, we should do each other favours without expecting money. Hang on, there is an edit. Let's read the edit before we formulate and unpack this. I know $80 isn't a lot, says OP. One of the main reasons they asked me to babysit is because they knew that they didn't have to pay me as much, and I'm fine with that. In fact, I'd have done it for free, but I figured that I might as well take the money if they are offering it. Okay, going back to mum's point, I get it. Like, yeah, you help out family, but at the same time, you were going to be out of pocket because they didn't leave you any food. You still have to like pay your bills. You're still inconveniencing yourself by being somewhere else and giving up, was it a weekend? An entire weekend. And it's pretty big responsibility, you know, looking after a little 5-month-old, defrosting milk, feeding the baby, taking the baby for the walks. No, seriously though, it is a lot, you know, and it's totally fine. I'm struggling to understand why mum is getting involved. Like, couple who clearly earn money, right? They're going away for a weekend. They'd have to pay someone else anyway. They're getting a deal out of this. You're getting some money and getting to look after your kid. Like, don't get involved, mum. They're clearly fine. This contract was wonderful before mum started getting involved. And $80 is not a lot. Like, at all. That is such a bargain. I don't see what's wrong with this picture except for a meddling mum who's trying to, like, you know, stir the pot, which we don't appreciate here. Unless what had happened is that the couple then went back to the mum and was like bitching like, oh, she took the money that we offered. But that's clearly not what's happening, and if that is, that would make them total assholes. So anyway, my point is, no, P, you are not the arsehole. I cannot see any world in which you are the arsehole. You even said, no, don't worry about it. They insisted, you took the money, you went out, you bought food, you looked after their baby for cheap. It's fine. Stop getting involved, mum. Mum is a tiny arsehole. Everyone else is peachy. Should we see what other people have to say? If mum doesn't want her to accept the money, then she can go watch the grandchild overnight for free. Not the arsehole, your mum is being ridiculous. Caring for a baby for an entire weekend is a huge deal. Frankly, $80 is a fraction of what it would have been fair for them to have paid you. I see this point as well, and if this was like a contractual third-party external, you know, I'm employing a stranger to look after my baby's life, I appreciate where this is coming from. If it's a sibling though, this is like an ongoing arrangement. It's just like a, hey, thank you so much. Here's some money to cover food and a little bit of a thank you, you know, like that seems fair. Not the arsehole. It's not a matter of how hard it is, it's also a matter of time that you could have spent doing other things. The going rate for a weekend of babysitting is way over $80. You provided a need serviced for a reduced family price. Opie actually responded to that and said, my thoughts exactly. I was supposed to do work that weekend, but took it off so I could help them, and I'd have made more than $80 if I did work. Of course, take the money. If you are also working and you have taken time off work to babysit, take the money. I too, if I were the parents, would be insisting like, no babe, thank you so much. Very quickly there, a thought popped in my head and was like, oh wait, is it kind of arseholey for the couple to have asked sister to do that then if she had work? But no, I don't think so, because number one, it's a choice, right? Like OP didn't sound annoyed or like, oh, they made me. It's totally fine to ask a question. OP has clearly voluntarily taken the time off to look after little Squish. It's all good. And I also truly appreciate why someone would be asking, because I personally, even with my cats, let alone like a person, would rather somebody that I know and that I trust and that I already have like good rapport and communication with to look after my tiny little squishes rather than hire a stranger if I didn't have to, you know? All good. Mum's just getting involved and making something messy that didn't need to be messy. Keep it mild, mama. Keep it mild. All right. I thought that was a pretty straightforward one. We don't need any cool down time after that. I think we can dive straight into the next one. Are you ready? Fishing for arseholes. Am I the arsehole for issuing my family with two choices and saying that they need to accept it? Okay, this title definitely sounds spicier. For those of you who may have been around on this channel, we know Shaaba's thoughts on ultimatums. I am not a big fan of them. They're quite triggering to me. I started off this series, before realising it was going to be a series, absolutely being dead against ultimatums. The U word. I thought there was never, ever, 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 ever a reason to provide an ultimatum. We all grow. This is part of the series, right? We're expanding our own mindsets, and I feel like I've grown away from that position. I'm still quite tight on it. I'm not too far past the goalpost. I still think that 99.99999% of the time that I see ultimatums, they are used incorrectly. They're a form of emotional manipulation. They remove autonomy. They are not okay. However, I realise there's like 0.1% of the time, or 0.00001 if we're going with my silly string of nines, where an ultimatum may be acceptable. I still haven't quite figured out that formula in my brain because I like rules. Rules need to be applicable to multiple scenarios. I haven't figured out what that boundary is yet. We're working on it. So let's see if this one seems reasonable, because it definitely sounds like an ultimatum from the title. I am a 28-year-old man. I've always had a good relationship with my family growing up and even into my 20s. It was after my wife, who's 27, and I had our first child that things declined. My wife suffers from an eating disorder, anorexia, and she also has a sensory processing disorder, though that's less of an official diagnosis because it's not fully recognised on its own currently, but she has doctors and therapists recognise this as something that she struggles with. Interesting. I like how sensibly and sort of considered OP is talking about this. Of course, there's always three sides to every story, yours, theirs, and the truth, but I feel like OP is trying really hard to not create a bias, and I appreciate that. My wife's childhood was difficult, with strict parents who were unkind to their three children when it came to food. My wife got the worst of it because she struggled badly with eating certain foods, and after several years of being berated over food, being told that she was behaving like a spoiled little brat and having food forced on her, she developed an eating disorder. Oof, I'm so sorry, this sounds very tough. At the age of 17, she started seeking help on her own. At first, it was just through her school counsellor, but then when she moved out and went to college, where we met, she started seeing a therapist who specialised in eating disorders and sensory feeding issues. She was also able to recognise, because of therapy, that the reasons that she struggled to wear certain clothes was related to her SPD and was not her being weird about clothes. So SPD being sensory processing disorders. I realise I probably should have explained what that is as well, just in case you're not aware. Some people really struggle with sensory processing, and it's actually really greatly overlooked. It's very common for almost everyone to have some form of sensory processing preference, but that doesn't make it a disorder. For example, a really common one is people don't like wooden cutlery. Like, they don't like the taste or the feel of wood. Some people don't like the squishiness of aubergine. I, for example, it's the weirdest thing, I really hate it about myself. I cannot wear gloves because my hands just do not like the feeling of material. Like, I really struggle with certain gloves. But for some people, it's not just a couple of things that are preferences, it's a lot of things that can cause a lot of sensory discomfort. Like hearing things that are too loud, seeing things that are too bright, eating a lot of foods that have the wrong textures that just don't quite appease the brain. They do the opposite of appeasing. They cause significant discomfort. And a lot of the time that can go undetected, and especially in kids who don't have the words to formulate how they feel and who aren't believed very much because, you know, what do children know? They can just end up seeming really fussy, which is very sad because it's not their fault. It's certainly not something they can control. So I feel so bad for your wife for what she's gone through, because to have parents like that, let's read on. My wife has educated herself a lot on food, childhood diet, and how to healthily and joyfully introduce new foods to kids. She did this knowing that she wanted kids. I gave my family a heads up the first time that they were meeting my wife that her diet was not one that they were used to, and I said that we could bring food if it was easier, which they said it would be for the first time. In the years they knew her before we had kids, they never complained about her eating differently to the rest of us or eating less. Okay, sounds like you had, up until you had children, a really respectful and accommodating family unit. Our daughter is 3 and our son is 1, and it wasn't until she was born and we started having family dinners again post-COVID that I noticed they would comment on my wife's eating or how she was feeding our daughter. What is it with parents? This is the second post, right? The first post, mum just needed to blip, blip. Now, parents, grandparents, you should not be getting involved. I told them it wasn't kind to pick at her for eating the way that she does. They said it wasn't good to still have so many problems after so long. I explained that she's still working with her team and it's a day-by-day thing sometimes. One day they decided to make a meal where there wasn't a thing on the plate that my wife could eat. They called her out for being rude and wasting food, and I called them out for cooking a meal that she couldn't eat when they told us that we didn't need to bring anything for her. My sister also made a snarky comment about how colourful our daughter's plate of food was. It's really difficult to understand the full context of this without knowing what the food is. Do you know what I mean? Like, in principle, if we're taking what OP says as truth, they sound so considerate. They sound like they've really deliberated over this, and they're speaking to teams, they're being considerate with the family, asking if, or offering to bring things themselves. The family obviously know that there are rules, you know, like guidelines on what the wife is working on. It therefore seems appropriate to think that OP is also taking into account what a kid needs to eat, right? And that the kid is eating well because of how deliberate the rest of the post is. And with that frame of mind, I'm really thinking that the grandparents should not be getting involved, that this is happening because they're like, oh, well, you know, like, you're an adult doing whatever you want to yourself, we don't agree, but we can't say anything, but now you're doing it to our grandkid, we feel like we have a right to impose and tell you what you should be feeding your grandchild, you know, like, that sounds wrong. However, it could also be, because no examples are given, that what OP and his wife are thinking is good for the child to eat is not actually good, and the grandparents are seeing this and are like, we need to do something here, like, and they're going about it not in a healthy communicative way, but sort of like trying to force and subtly be passive aggressive about it. Like, if the kid is only eating chicken nuggets because her mum's sensory issues means that she only eats chicken nuggets, then that's of course not very healthy for the child. So I'm really in two minds at this point. There's one final bit, I imagine this is where the two choices come in, so let's finish reading. I spoke to my family and told them they had one more chance after that, and they didn't listen. So I said that they had two options. You either shut up about how my wife and kids eat, be kind and allow us to bring food for her, or we don't join them for dinners anymore. They said I was an asshole for giving them those two options. I said they needed to pick, or I'll do it for them, and I'll go with option B. Am I the asshole? Right, I'm feeling a lot better about the ultimatum thing, because to me, in my mind, this isn't an ultimatum. They say, you know, two choices needing to accept it. Sure. For me, this is a really healthy example of drawing a boundary, right? If you don't like something that's happening, you are telling that person, hey, you either respect the boundaries that I've already clearly communicated and that you're not currently respecting, or I will remove myself from the situation. An ultimatum to me is when you are forcing somebody else for them to do one of two things. You know, you need to pick either me or her. See, that's a very different situation to me than saying you need to treat me with respect or I'm going to remove myself from the situation. It takes the onus away from someone else because it's you making decisions about yourself based on how you deserve to be treated. Does that make sense? What is the definition of an ultimatum? If this is seen as an ultimatum, then I think this is healthy. Hey, respect how me and my wife parent our child, and respect my wife's eating requirements, which we have at hand. We are seeing professionals. We have got this down. Recovery is not a linear process. It takes time. Accept all of this, or if you don't respect it, we will not put ourselves in a position where you can continue to disrespect us. We, of our own accord, will remove ourselves from that situation. Doesn't that sound healthy? I don't see how there's anything wrong with that. Apart from, of course, the caveat that I just said before, which is if maybe you are just really, really misguided, OP, and you are not feeding this kid correctly. incorrectly. Either way, to be honest, your family have the right to say what they think is right. Like, they can say, I'm not happy with how they're feeding the baby. Is it your place to say that though? No. The only thing that would change me from saying not the asshole here is if, as I said before, you were just really feeding that baby so poorly. I totally get then why the parents would feel the need to say something, because you might be so ignorant, you know, you and your wife, and you're thinking you're doing the right thing, but maybe you're not, and therefore the parents feel like they need to talk up. I mean, clearly that's what they're thinking they're doing anyway. They're doing it because they think they're right, and they're allowed to voice that opinion. But if you've said, hey, be kind, we've taken it on board, stop, then they need to respect that. This is your family, this is your parenting. So if you weren't feeding your kid properly, your parents are trying to say something and they're still going about it the wrong way, to be honest, it's probably going to turn into an everybody sucks here moment. But right now, I have to assume that you are feeding your kid right, and therefore I definitely don't think you are the arsehole in this situation. I think this whole post just sounds like really healthy communication. Oh, this is tricky. Do you agree, my loves? What do you think, Peaches? Let me know. Let's take a look at what other people have to say. Not the arsehole. Your family are judgmental and nasty, and good on you for standing up for your wife. Lord knows that Am I the Arsehole is full of spouses who either do nothing when in-laws berate or judge, or they take their family's side. I think that you've handled this perfectly, and what you need to do is stand strong against all the barrage of calls and texts that you're going to get. Just keep reiterating the rules and boundaries and tell them that it's not up for discussion. I really do agree with this. The only thing that would make me think is if someone is so adamant, you know, they're so questioning the healthiness of what I'm doing with my family, I would be like, well, I'm open to it, you know, maybe I am wrong. I would speak to a professional about it. I'd speak to a nutritionist. I'd speak to a dietitian. I'd speak to the therapist who are, you know, like dealing with a mum. I'm pretty sure there's things that you've already done. I'd suggest that maybe grandparents go and do the same if they're that concerned. And, you know, if a professional is like, it's okay, then who are you, family, for saying that we're doing something wrong when you're just trying to adapt and overcome trauma in what sounds like a really healthy way? But there's nothing wrong in getting an additional opinion. You know, that might help ease your family's concerns and allow you to still be together without people being judgy when they're not qualified to be judgy, if that makes sense. Oh, it grates on me so much. There's nothing worse than people who talk as if they are an authority on something when they have no idea what they're talking about. Be informed. Be educated. And if you're not, that's okay. You can have a concern, research that concern, and then voice your opinion. OP actually responded and said, I'll never understand someone not defending their spouse when their families are the ones that are wrong. My family and I were always close before, but that doesn't mean that I'll ignore it when they're behaving badly. Knowing that they treated her this way when they're aware of how she was mistreated by her own parents makes this worse for me. I appreciate hearing that. That's very kind of OP. I feel like there's a lot of self-reflection happening here, and it really sounds like they're being clever about it and thinking of everything. Blind loyalty is never okay. Regardless of whether someone's your lover, your dog, whatever it might be, if someone's doing something wrong, the most loving thing to do is to call them out on it, because we need to show the people that we love respect. And respect doesn't mean lying to them and allowing them to continue behaving in a way that's not okay. It's beneficial for you and for them to make sure that everybody is doing the right thing. It surprises me how many people do just let things slide and end up siding with people that are so clearly objectively wrong because they're my partner, because they're my family, because family first. That's it. Duh. No one should be above the law in that way. But of course, at the same time, we also need to make sure that in our minds we are backing up what we're saying and our conviction with things that are actually right. Because the alternative to that is, oh, well, you know, we need to really accommodate my wife's trauma. Totally appreciate the trauma's happened. But sometimes, if that leads us to build unhealthy habits today, now, especially when it comes to kids, we could end up passing on that trauma and passing on those unhealthy eating habits in a way that could detriment the child, which is also not okay. But speaking to therapists should mean that you can mitigate that happening. As long as you're consciously aware of it, then yeah, you know, like of course, respect your wife's past and also be healthy right now in the present. Not the arsehole. You did the right thing. They're lucky that they got a choice, but they've still complained about it. Are they openly admitting that their bullying of your wife is really their preferred option? It's a really interesting way to phrase it, because that's essentially what's happening. They're like, oh, come here. No, don't bring your own food. We're going to force this food on you. Haha, you can't eat this. I'm not saying they're saying it like that. Like, it's not a playground. But in principle, that's what they're doing. They're like being mean to your wife, and that's not okay. No one should be putting themselves in a position where they are disrespected. Ooh, I'm feeling some kind of way about that one. Mostly because I feel like I didn't get enough of the story. There's nothing there that gave me concrete examples of the food where I could be like, yes, this is clearly healthy. What you are feeding your child makes sense. But Opie said that the sister was making fun out of how colourful the plate was. So colour normally means healthy, right? Like vegetables, lots of different foods. I think I'm going to leave this one up to you. Not the arsehole is my verdict. Get your little peachy butts downstairs and let me know what you think, my loves. Let's go into another one. That was spicy. That was a lot harder. Am I the arsehole for telling my sister that she's required to wear a bra at my wedding? Oh, now this does sound spicy. I feel like the two hottest topics in this little punnet, peach punnet, is that what we are? is clothes, people being told what clothes they can wear, specifically bras and dresses. That seems to come up a fair amount, and also weddings. So let's go. I love my sister, and truthfully, when I say required, I'm obviously not going to kick her out if she doesn't wear one, but like she really needs to. Okay, that's not normally how these posts start. I don't think it's actually that obvious that somebody on this post wouldn't actually kick someone out for not wearing a bra. So this is already making me feel like OP is maybe a bit more considerate and on a rational level, but let's see. My sister is well endowed and she hates bras. When she's wearing certain items like baggy t-shirts, it's not so noticeable, but in the dress that she chose, I just gave her a colour, she chose a dress, that she's wearing to my wedding, it will be very obvious that she's not wearing a bra. And one wrong move and she could be flashing everybody. Not only does it look bad, but it's also borderline inappropriate. Interesting. Okay, this is taking a different turn. When I first started this post, I was like, don't tell somebody what they can wear. What do you mean you're forcing someone to wear a bra? What is wrong with you? I still stand by that. I'm also just intrigued. I find myself more open to hearing what OP has to say. Let's read on. I told her let's go shopping and she can try a bunch of different ones. I even found a boutique in our area because stores carry very few options in her size and said that I would pay for whatever she picked out. Are you talking about the bra? I feel like OP's saying I will take you bra shopping. Now she's saying that I'm playing into sexist stereotypes. I'm saying that there's a good chance that if you dance too hard in this dress, your titty's gonna pop out, and I don't think that's sexist. There's one word that keeps going through my mind. I wanted to wait until we got to the end. The word that keeps going through my mind is tape. This is very easily sorted with tape. Titty tape is a wonder. It's miraculous. It's amazing. And I totally appreciate not wanting to wear a bra. If you don't want to wear a bra, you don't want to wear a bra. You want to wear a dress where it's very obvious that you're not wearing a bra, fine. Have you seen an episode of Friends? Rachel never wore a bra. It was so obvious. It's the fashion of the time. And if you don't want to wear a bra, you don't have to wear a bra. If you want to wear a bra, if you want to wear a dress that shows a lot of side boob and you're not wearing a bra, fine. That's okay. It's your prerogative as a person to wear what you want to wear. I do think that Sister is probably right here, where it's rooted in sexism to use words like, oh, it's inappropriate. You know, like, it's tricky. When I hear, if you dance too hard, your boob's gonna pop out, I've seen so many people wearing those outfits, not even just on red carpets. People who've come to my wedding, family, friends, you know, like, it's the fashion, and we can't dictate that. However, I also appreciate, you know, the sisterly camaraderie of, hey babe, let's keep those tatas inside the bucket. It's a kind thing to want to avoid somebody being embarrassed by having a boob pop out. But if they don't want to wear a bra, use tape. It seems simple to me. Let's read on. Oh, am I the arsehole? That's it. There is edits though. I thought I'd already added this in, says OP, so now it's an edit. The dress has a low cut made with 2 panels that crisscross. It's too tight, so the panels put her boobs in half, if that makes sense, with half exposed and half not. And when she walks in the dress, her boobs shift towards the exposed center are this way. Okay, so that she's constantly pulling the material back over and tucking them in. I can see the dress that you're talking about, and they're very pretty. It's confusing to me because if your sister is like really constantly like aware of it and shuffling, then surely she will want to do something with the booby area, you know? Also, says OP, it's not about my sister's cleavage looking better than mine. She's my sister. I want her to look fantastic. I'm going to be wearing a £30 bright white dress. I'm not worried about people not seeing me. Cool. If she had smaller boobs, it wouldn't be an issue with this dress. If she had small boobs and was wearing a dress that could expose said smaller breasts, I would still have an issue. Okay, so OP's saying it's not about the fact that she has big boobs. OP also says, if a man were to come to my wedding with his nipples exposed, he would be kicked out. I'm not into the frat bro take off your shirt and wear your tie around your head. It's not happening either. And I'm all for topless beaches. I'm not for topless weddings. To everyone saying, well, in Europe, please point me to a European country where it's considered normal for European women to attend a wedding with her boobs out. Okay, it sounds like OP's really thought about this, and I don't think that OP is being blindly sexist, right? She's like, look, if it was a guy, I'd say the same thing. If my sister had a different boob shape, I'd say the same thing. It's not because I am jealous and wanting the attention on me. Sounds like she's really just caring for her sister. Tape, right? At the end of the day, it's your sister's prerogative. If she wants to wear a dress like that, she can wear that dress. The polite thing to do is to say, hey babe, I'm worried you're gonna have a nip slip moment. Let's try and avoid that. But ultimately, if your sister doesn't want to, it's her prerogative. I'm in two minds because like I'm hearing this and I'm like, but hang on a second. Is this what you're saying, Shaaba, that you should just accept that people are allowed to flash at your wedding? People shouldn't be flashing anywhere. Let's just put that out first. Like, it's not about whether it's your wedding or someone else's wedding. I appreciate why you're wanting to say something. However, if your sister's doing this constantly, in your words, she's aware of the issue, especially because you've spoken about it. She's aware of it. She probably just won't dance very hard if she wants to wear that dress. I don't think forcing her to wear a bra would ever be the right thing to do. It's fine to say, hey, let's explore options. Tape. I was going to say safety pins, but if you're not wearing a bra, don't safety pin things to your boobs. That is not a good idea. But tape. I think ultimately the thing that makes me feel a bit squiffy about what's being said here is this concept that dresses are made for certain types of bodies. And to an extent, it's true. Some bodies, I don't want to say look better because that's not what I'm talking about. Some outfits and some bodies just are more compatible. Does that make sense? And it's not always about being skinnier. Like, for example, a lot of boob tube tops, which I think look quite lovely. You need boobs to wear them. If you don't have boobs, you can still wear them, but they don't accentuate the body in ways that, yeah, I guess it does all come down to like the standard stereotypical ideal body type. So it is rooted in that. And the same principles that, you know, dictate whether a certain cut looks more flattering on you are the same principles that often lead people like me feeling like I can't wear bodycon dresses because, oh, my tummy will show. There's a particular top that I've owned for a very long time, and I've recently worn it out twice on 2 separate holidays. For the longest time, I thought it was the most beautiful top. I bought the top and it sat in my wardrobe collecting dust, and I was so nervous to wear it because I was nervous that people would think that it would look too booby. To be honest, it's probably no more booby than what I'm wearing now. Like, it's quite exposed, but it's more exposed here, I guess, because the arms are out. I was walking around Greece literally last week with Jamie. We had this conversation. I was like, I really like this top. I'm feeling very exposed. Like, do I look inappropriate? And he's like, babe, no. It's because you've grown up in an environment where you're told, no, you must cover up, that it's new to me. But the reality is, if it's what I want to wear and I think I look friggin' amazing, then I'm gonna wear it. That is it at the end of the day. My body, my choice. My fashion, my choice. So if your sister wants to wear this, I think you just need to let her wear it. And sure, inform her that if there is a nip slip situation, perhaps tape, or there are bras also out there that can be concealed with the material, but that also provide that extra support. But if she ultimately doesn't want to do that, that's her choice. So yeah, you are the arsehole, I think, for telling your sister that she is required to wear a bra at the wedding. Or you would be. Because it sounds like you haven't done that. There's also an edit here, actually, and says, I have decided I'm just going to leave it alone. In which case, you're not the arsehole. But based on the title, you would be the arsehole. So, yay for growth. Yay for learning. Yay for what's the word I'm looking for? Looking into your own mind. Introspection? I'm so bad with words. Let's see if other people agree. Not the arsehole, says someone. Oh, if she doesn't want to wear a bra at an official event, she needs to choose a dress that allows it. If she chooses a dress that's a tight fit, that's see-through, or with a noticeable cleavage, she needs to wear a bra. No one wants their sis to flash her tits during the wedding. I disagree with this. If someone wants to show off more boob, it's their prerogative to do that. It's their body. Are people going to talk? Maybe. Should that matter? It's up to the person. You can't dictate what someone else wears. It's as simple as that. So no, I actually disagree with this. That last sentence could be a bumper sticker. No one wants to see their sis flash her tits during the wedding. Yeah, I see it. I don't have a car nor driver's license, but I'll take one for my bike. Someone else says, I generally feel that no one should ever have to wear a bra if they don't want to, no matter what reason, but yep, hard agree that you need to wear the right outfits for your choice. If you don't want to wear one, don't wear a dress with a high chance of them popping out. Again, I disagree. Am I being controversial? I'm so confused right now. I disagree. No, you should wear what you want to wear. I get it. You don't want your boobs popping out, but there are other measures that you can take to stop your boobs from popping out that means that you can still wear the fashion that you want to wear. This is so weird, says someone. Official events are one of the rare occasions that most women won't wear a bra anyway because most fancy dresses would show a bra, and that's an absolute no-no fashion-wise. The concept that people should be clearly and visibly wearing a bra, like there's a bra police, is absolutely ridiculous. Thank you. I feel less bananas now. This is more in mind as to what I expected to see across this forum. Apparently it's a minority. Not the arsehole. Part of going to a wedding is dressing appropriately. If she's one wrong move away from a nip slip, she's not dressed appropriately. I say this as someone who hasn't worn a bra in years and physically can't stand it. There are other options like stick-on bras or tape that she might look into, or maybe she needs a different dress but she can't do nothing. Actually, she can do nothing. She could do what she wants. It's her body. Ugh. And at the end of the day, your sister doesn't want to flash her boobs, right? Like, that's not her plan. She's not gonna dance vigorously to make a boob pop out. To be fair, I don't think a bride should have to say, please choose a dress that doesn't let you flash your nipples at my wedding. That should be obvious unless it's a very unusual wedding. I know if he says, thank you for your thoughtful comment, I really do appreciate it. I'm not sure that I like the vibe of that exchange. It sounds to me like Opie has their mindset and they're not really considering other opinions. I don't know. You are the arsehole, going on a wild assumption that your sister doesn't want to flash everybody at your wedding. She knows her body better than you. If she doesn't think it's a problem, then it probably isn't. There's so much pearl clutching about breast. There's nothing inappropriate about the natural shape and movement of a breast. Pog comment right here. Pog commenter. I feel like this has been quite a long video. I apologise. And so I think we should leave it there. I don't think we should go fishing once more. I know sometimes we're doing 4, sometimes we're doing 3. But we did speak about these ones a lot. And those last 2, I'm feeling some kind of way over. I'd really appreciate your thoughts, my loves. Let me know what you think downstairs in the comment section. I think I definitely stand firm on my verdict for that last one. You are the arsehole for requiring someone to wear a bra. And that last comment summed it up perfectly. At the end of the day, your sister will know her body better than you do. She's not not going to want her boobs out for the world to see. Nobody wants that nip slip to happen. So if she's comfortable with the dress that she's wearing, and you've made her aware that there are other options like tape, like bras that aren't on show, you do not have a say in what she decides to wear. You've dictated a colour, not a dress. Let her get on with it. Alright, my loves, if you enjoyed this video, do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. Please do subscribe if you enjoy this channel. It super duper helps me out. I'll catch you next time with another video. Be kind and have a great day. Bye.